What's up everyone, welcome back to another video with the Millennial Finance. In the blink of an eye, it is already April of 2023. What this means is that it's also bonus season for the most of us. The majority of us either already have received it in our March salary or will receive it in our April payslips. It could be really exciting and tempting to splurge this cash, especially if you're a fresh grad who's receiving it for the first time. I remember my first time receiving a bonus, being over the moon having that amount of money land into my bank account. However, it's also really important for us to know how we can use this extra money so that we can make the most use out of it. So today, I'll be going through what we should be doing when we receive a large sum of money like an annual bonus. So the very first thing that you must do is to assess your financial goals and your current financial standing. If, for example, you have a high interest debt that is equal to the amount of your entire bonus, then the decision becomes easy and you don't have to watch this YouTube video any further. You can just use this nice injection of money to pay it all off, freeing you for the rest of the year to work towards your other financial goals. As always, we'll give you tips on how we can best manage our financial situation, but after all, it's called personal finance for a reason. Everyone will have their own paths and their own goals to work towards, so just use this sort of as guiding principles and adjust it based on your current situation. So I'm going the polar opposite of traditional personal finance rules, but the first thing that you should do when you receive an annual bonus is that you should allocate a small amount for you to splurge on whatever you want. After all, you've worked through an entire year with your current company to earn this annual bonus, and everyone deserves to splurge on themselves occasionally. And there really isn't a better time to do this than when you receive a large sum of money through your own hard work in the form of an annual bonus. I'm a believer that working towards your long-term financial goals has to be something that is sustainable, which is why I'm not a huge fan of the hardcore FIRE movement. If we burn ourselves out, especially at the early stages of our careers with minimal self-reward, then it might be difficult for us to keep that motivation to work towards our long-term financial goals. Our personal finance journeys are a marathon, not a sprint. Just make sure they don't spend too much or all of it, of course, because we will want some of this extra cash to put to good use. Personally, I've sort of gotten into racing games since the start of the year, so I'm using a part of my annual bonus to buy a racing wheel just for a bit of fun. Now that we've gotten the fun part out of the way, it's time to get to business. The first thing that you want to do is to pay off your high interest debt. And the reason for this is that these can really start to snowball over time. Just like how our investments can help us build long-term wealth through the power of compounding, the same also works for high interest debt, except in a negative way. Paying off your high interest debt can also help you improve your cash flow because it will mean that you don't have to pay the monthly installments anymore moving forward, freeing you up to work towards your other financial goals. Again, this might be one of the best chances for you to do so because it's not every month that we receive 2, 3 or even 4 months of our salaries. Even if you don't manage to clear all of it, hopefully you will be able to clear a large majority of it, making a huge dent to your total debt. This could include stuff like credit card debt, which sits pretty much at the top of the list. Other stuff could include things like missed payments from personal loans, payday loans, or buy now pay later systems. Of course, if you've already taken some of these loans and your payment record is actually on track, then maybe it's not so worth to try and rush to pay these off immediately. For example, if you took a BNPL to buy something expensive, but you're paying it off every single month and you're getting 0% interest, then maybe it doesn't make sense for you to take this lump sum cash and pay that off early. Just continue your monthly payments until it's done. Another example of this is personal loans, especially if you're already paying on time every single month. The reason for this is that personal loans are usually set in a way that it's a fixed interest rate, meaning that the interest is already determined at the start of your contract, so no matter when you pay it off, it will still be the same amount. Compare this to credit card debt where the interest is implied to the remaining balance, then those scenarios you should pay it off quickly so that interest you pay will reduce in total. Other loans that you shouldn't rush to pay off include things like Amanah Saham and PT/PTN loans. The next thing you'll want to do is to build your emergency fund, or also known as a rainy day fund. Having 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly spending will do wonders to not just your financial health, but also your mental health. Just having the peace of mind knowing that if something really bad happens, you'll at least be okay financially and you can support yourself for a few months. There's just so many stories out there about people losing their jobs unfortunately and not being able to sustain themselves for very long. And it's not just people with low incomes. Some high earners who have very high monthly costs as well can suffer the same fate. One piece of good news for emergency funds is that the avenues that we have to store these have gotten a massive boost in returns. For Bumiputras, there's Amanah Saham through ASB 1 and 2, which roughly gives you around 5% a year. This one really hasn't changed over the last few years. In fact, it's actually been going down. Non-Bumiputras, on the other hand, didn't have many options in previous years because things like fixed deposits aren't the greatest options for emergency funds, whereas money market funds didn't give much. Now though, money market fund platforms like Stashaway, Versa, and KDI Safe have all given massive boosts to their returns thanks to higher interest rates. Stashaway has recently announced that they're increasing the rates for Stashaway Simple to 4.1% a year, probably putting them at the top of the list. Our emergency fund earning that much in interest can really be a huge boost to our long-term financial planning. If you've already got the emergency fund sorted, then you're definitely on the right path personal finance wise. The next step would then naturally be to invest your money in assets that can really help you start building wealth over the long run. I know, markets aren't so hot right now and people can get frustrated seeing their losses build up month after month. It works in cycles though, and markets globally are just currently in a bear market. No one knows when this will end, but historically, investing in equities do provide gains, especially when we're looking at the very long run. We're talking about the decades rather than the years. The biggest chunk of my bonus will actually go to this category, even though I've seen poor returns over the last 2 years. The truth is, there's just no better way to build long-term wealth passively. Yes, 4 to 5% is good, but there are better options out there. The thing is, like I said, markets work in cycles, but on average, they do tend to go up. The most common assets that people buy are of course stocks and ETFs, which can do through brokers like Rakuten and Interactive Brokers. For a hands-off approach, there are robo-advisors like Stashaway or KDI Invest. If you really don't have faith in stock markets right now, that's completely fine. You can always just put more of your cash into safer investments like Amanah Saham or money market funds. After all, getting 4% a year on very low risk is better than nothing, and honestly, it's actually a pretty good deal right now considering interest rates. Everyone has their own risk tolerance, that's completely understandable, so choose what will help you sustain over the long run. The last thing you want to do is to take on too much risk with your investments and then have to sell this at a loss in a few months' time. Again, it's all about sustainability. If you want to use any of these platforms I've mentioned, then check out the links down in the description below. You can get some freebies and of course you'll support the channel as well. The final way you can use your extra money from your annual bonus is to spend or save it for short-term goals. This could be things like getting married, buying a house, or paying for a course to upskill yourself. The investment with the highest ROI early on in our career is to invest in ourselves. Maybe you're happy with your bonus, but you're done with your job. You could take up some classes online, physically, whatever it is, to hopefully transition your career down the line. Who knows, maybe one day you'll create the next ChatGPT. Anyway, thanks for watching this video till the end guys. Give us a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Let us know down in the comments below, how are you going to spend your annual bonus? See you guys in the next one. Peace out.